Well, we've got a true American hero on the line with us. Highest paid star in television. Major endorsements of big products. But Charlie Sheen, for the second time, and in even more of a bold fashion, came out with his 20 minutes to the president, those 20 key bullet points, 60% of the commission saying a cover-up, a lie, a fraud. There should be a criminal investigation of the White House and Pentagon. He said, these are my questions. I'd like to meet with you, Mr. President, with Bob McIlvaine, with some of the other survivors and their families who want to meet with you and call for a real investigation. This is the change I voted for. And the media spun it and said, Charlie Sheen wants to hurt the families. The families all hate him with no evidence. True defamation, true slander, true libel. And so Charlie last Friday issued the challenge. He said, any of you people, the daughter of McCain, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Bill O'Reilly, you come on a live TV show, you debate me on the facts. I'll bring the truth. You bring popular mechanics, whoever you want. And these cowards are real tough with their teleprompters, but they won't debate him. But they have ratcheted up the attacks to the nastiest stuff I've ever seen. There's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes as well, but that'll come out in the future if Charlie wants to bring it out. Regardless, 9/11 truth back on the front burner. The establishment wasn't just able to use it for their police state and their wars this 8th anniversary. And now we're seeing all the new tapes coming out trying to counter us. Charlie Sheen, great to have you here with us.
Great to be here, Alex. How are you, man?
Good. There's a lot to talk about.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Where shall we start?
Wherever you'd like.
Well, I think we got to talk about this continuing mainstream media attack that is just so unfounded and just baseless and without merit and is so desperately trying to swing the focus into a different direction that is just mired in blatant fiction and total manipulation. And it's just it's so transparent. It's so predictable. I mean, if this is the best they got, how can we rely on any of these clowns for anything legitimate about any aspect of the news or the world we live in, period?
Well, that's why they're all losing market share, is because people don't trust a damn thing they say. And we've got polls of 83% on CNN supporting you, 84% questioning the official story in the New York Times. You're bad for reading the Washington Post quoting 6 of the 10 commissioners saying it's a fraud. But see, they won't counter that. They make up stuff you never said.
Yeah, they are. They're really insistent on spinning all sorts of quotes, and theories, and beliefs, and ideas, and statements that I've put forth, and it is such a blatant misrepresentation of what you and I have been, so painstakingly focused on here, and so careful about the bullet points that we chose and the way that we constructed the letter and the message that we're delivering, that it's just I've got to believe at some point there could be some legal action here. I'm not saying that's where I'm headed with this, because I think we got bigger fish to fry than these worthless douchebags, but it's just a shame that they've created the illusion that they command the truth, that they hold all the cards, that what they say is law, when in fact it's quite the opposite. When they're making statements, or the statements that I made about Bush and Cheney were behind this thing. It's an absolute cover-up. It's they blew up the towers, and I think that Bin Laden was in contact with the CIA up until 9/11, and I think that this happened, and I think, and it's like, no, guys, no. Read the letter, be responsible journalists. Read the frickin' letter, and let's talk about that. Instead, they got to drudge up all types of stuff, real or imagined, whatever. Let's for a second maybe peek into the closets of some of these knuckleheads and see what skeletons lurk amongst their debris.
Well, that's the issue. is that on these shows they say, Charlie Sheen says this.
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen said that. And they're making up fake quotes when you deliberately, in your statements on this show and in the letter, said, I just want you to answer these questions. 6 of the 10 say there should be a new investigation. And their answer is, every family hates you, Charlie. You're hurting the families.
They continue to use that tired excuse as a shield, as you often put it, you know, and it's just it's so shameful, and it's just so unacceptable on so many fronts, you know.
Well, Charlie, I just want to say that I really do admire you. I mean, I'm not just here saying, oh, I admire Charlie because you're a big Hollywood TV star and you're on my show. And I mean, I really know you well over the years, and I know what you go through behind the scenes to do this. And like a true hero, you never talk about it.
No.
You know, all the stuff that was made up about you before. You were told, shut up, we're going to make up a bunch of crap, and they did. Mm-hmm. In the nastiest way, and going after Cuban, now in the New York Times, the White House calling him. I mean, this is heavy gangsters you're going up against, and you've gone through all of this, and you've come out smelling like a rose because the people know the media lies and spins. And what I want you to speak to next is you put out the challenge to John McCain's daughter and all these people, and they're afraid to debate you.
I haven't heard anything back thus far, and we issued the challenge when, Alex?
Last Friday.
Last Friday, yeah. All right, so we'll give them the weekend. You know, they were busy, whatever. But no, we haven't. My PR team has not received any calls. You haven't received any calls. I haven't received any calls, and it just seems you know, very glaring, in my opinion, that what have they got to hide? What are they so afraid of? Let me just read one thing from the letter, Alex, that these, these talking heads, these talking pinheads need to be made aware of. Please keep in mind, Mr. President, everything I'm about to say is documented as fact and part of the public record. The information you are holding in your hands chronicles and verifies each and every point. Now, would you and I have written a statement like that just prior to the briefing if we didn't feel it was absolutely bulletproof and stood completely on its own?
No, we wouldn't have. And now that is in the White House hands. Gibbs has it. They've called you back. You've talked to them. We have their emails. We didn't publish their emails or phone calls back to you. We published your emails to them, you know, out of respect to privacy, even though it's a public office of the White House press secretary, Gibbs.
Sure.
Here you are saying, I'd like to meet with you with the 9/11 families. You're in contact with the 9/11 families. Here you are saying, I'd like to debate. And on top of that, Larry King was hot to have you on, but he said, we've got to have somebody on the other side. And then Larry King called you up last week, and they said, look, we can find no one to debate Charlie Sheen. It's incredible. Which
doesn't really support their whole argument, because I'm a complete nutbag. I'm crazy, quote unquote. I have. What did Mustache call me? Mustache called me. He said I had a trick gene.
Yes.
Do we know what a trick gene is, Alex?
I think you got to have a trick gene to be able to grow a Stromboli mustache.
Get your science team on that right away. So if Stromboli is going to attack me with a trick gene, shouldn't he be held responsible for at least explaining what that means?
Well, that's...
Or are we giving him too much airtime and too much credit?
Well, you know, Geraldo Rivera is a joke in his own right, and all he did was use lies, innuendos, say you were hurting the families. The families, almost to a person, the news says over 75%, didn't like the commission and said it was a fraud and a cover-up.
Sure.
There's all those famous photos and videos of them holding up signs saying cover-up.
Right.
And they're up there knowing that's the case, lying and claiming they represent the families and then saying you're hurting the families. When it was Bush that blocked the families being able to sue Saudi Arabia for that connection. That brings me to another point you made off air. and that's about Hollywood and their so-called anti-war stance.
Yeah, it just seems a little hypocritical in my book, at least, that everybody is so outspoken against the war, but they seem like they're forgetting the reason that the war began. It seems like they're forgetting what had to take place prior to both wars being launched, and so I don't feel. I'm not saying like I can't handle this out here on my own, because I went into the fire and. I'm ready to carry the flag. I'm ready to deliver the message. I'm ready to do whatever I have to do to keep the fight going, to keep this, to keep focus on the issue. But I just, it might have been nice if somebody came forward and said, "I got your back, bro. I got your back." But, I guess everybody's too worried about the things they're worried about. And you know what? They're absolutely entitled to take that position. I'm not saying I respect it. I'm not saying I disrespect it, but.